Puss in Boots from 2011 is an okay movie, and I think most people agree on that. It's okay. DreamWorks didn't make a lot of money off it, so they always planned on making a sequel to the film. And, the Shrek franchise makes a lot of money for them. The sequel, however, was in development hell for like over 10 years, which is quite a lot. And, that's like a lot of stuff's happened in the time since then. And eventually they finally made a film that they liked. And so in 2022, they made Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And to say the least, it's a masterpiece. Just from the trailer alone, I could tell that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was going to be something special. Just by looking at the animation style and the way it's presented, and tell me that this is something to be a very amazing movie. And you know what? I was right. A lot of people weren't actually that hyped for this movie. It only got really popular till a little bit afterwards, after word of mouth got around. This movie's actually really good, and then a bunch of memes and stuff like that got posted, and it became a pretty big film, one of the most well-recepted films of the last years. For a good reason. It's really good. And let's see why it is that great. Keep in mind this review is being done after a bunch of other reviews, so if there's anything that's similar to other reviews, keep in mind I am doing this a lot later, but it's part of my Drinkers Marathon, so gotta do it. Pretty much everyone's talked about how great this movie is, but I'm gonna add more stuff why this movie is great. You already know it's great. I keep saying great because it's great. It's great, great, great. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a masterpiece. That much is very well known. The movie follows Puss in Boots after the events of Shrek 4. Well, not really that matters, but it takes place at the end of the timeline. If you are curious, you Shrek fanatics, when this movie takes place. And Puss in Boots is living large, living high, drinking leche, which is milk in Spanish if you didn't know, and he's stepping on people's hands, including a kid's face.
He stepped on my face!
And we will never wash it again.
So he's living large, living high, singing songs about how he's a fearless hero. Except this is not his house. It's this guy's house, and he's mad that Puss in Boots ripped his beautiful portrait here, and he wants him dead. But that's kind of hard to do. Maybe it isn't, because this guy kind of sucks. Look at this wimp. What a loser. Also, Puss in Boots fights a giant here, which, yeah, they exist in the Shrek universe. You didn't know? Remember Shrek said, well, that's literally a giant. This is what a giant looks like. Pretty crazy design, if you ask me. Running, this random giant was woken up by these fireworks, and that's why he's attacking the town. And yeah, it was sunrise, that's why it changed from night to day, in case you're wondering. So this scene is pretty gross. Ugh, man, I would hate that to happen to me. The thing about this movie's animation is that it's phenomenal. Look at how gorgeous it is. Even in my crappy frame rate here, you can see the beautiful painted textures of all the characters to make it look like it's a fairy tale come to life. And every time there's an action scene, the frame rate slows down to get to see every frame of the character's movement, and it looks amazing. So in this crowd shot, there's this ominous-looking wolf in the background. I wonder if he's going to come back later. So he beats the giant, which is pretty amazing, by using a bell, and everything seems fine and dandy. He's a fearless hero, and nothing bad could happen to him.
Okay, one more number. I call this one, The Legend Will Never Die.
Oh, the movie is still going. I thought he died there. Well, yeah, he actually did die there. But remember, cats have 9 lives. But it turns out he's died 8 times already, making this his last life. And one of those deaths was because he cheated in poker against dogs. Pretty classic. We also get a little cameo from Gingy, one of my favorite Shrek characters. What's noteworthy is that on the edges of these death cards here, we see this wolf every time the number comes off, and I think it gets bigger in each one. I wonder if that means anything. He's kind of mad because the doctor / barber said that he should retire since, he should not, his lifestyle is not good for his lives. Let's just say that, because he wasted 8 lives already, and maybe not that long a life.
Retire. You are too good looking to retire.
Yes, is the character that exploded on the internet, the Wolf, who is later revealed to be Death himself. And he's after Puss in Boots since he recklessly spent all 8 of his lives and he wants the final life now. Of course, Puss in Boots thinks he's just a bounty hunter at this point. But even when you first see him, you're basically shitting your pants. This guy is scary as shit. All the kids peed themselves in watching this movie. Trust me, I was in the theater day 1 and all the kids were like crying. Not really, but it would be funny if they did.
This, but can I get your autograph? Been following you for a long time. sign right there.
So pretty much any scene with the wolf in them, which isn't a lot actually, surprisingly not, despite how popular this character is, he's actually not in the movie that much, and you don't know it until you rewatch like I do all the time. But this scene is one of the best scenes in cinema history. The fact that this character is so intimidating in a kids movie at that is really mind-blowing. The fact that we already see how powerful Puss in Boots can be, and the fact that this guy makes him look like chump, just showcases how much of a threat this villain is, which is a great thing to do in movies. Villains should be more powerful than heroes. They have something to overcome. And the fact that he's supposed to be really scared of this guy, it sells it by the fact that he makes Puss in Boots look like a chump.
You're not living up to the legend, Gato.
I remember actually being pretty shocked when I actually saw blood in this movie. You don't usually see characters bleed, especially the main character in animated movies. It's actually very rare. I don't even remember another movie that's made for kids that's like has that. It's like Up, maybe? I don't even know.
I just love the smell of fear.
We also get a little cameo from Shrek and Donkey for one split second during a flashback at different points of Puss's life. Well, there you go. You like Shrek? Here you go. I mean, you know I like Shrek. We've seen my other videos, so I was happy. What are they doing on this bridge is the real question. Realizing that death is too much for him, Puss in Boots, for the first time in his life, just runs away. Maybe not the first time he runs away, but the first time he runs away from a threat like this. He buries all his boots, his cape, and his hat to say that he's died. Also, fun fact about his cape is that this is the first movie that has Puss in Boots in it that he wears his cape throughout the entirety of the movie, other than this scene here. Because in every other of the movie, he throws it away because capes are too hard to animate. Even though capes look really cool, despite what The Incredibles says. And Puss in Boots looks really good with a cape, even though he doesn't have one here, because he's crying and sad, because he's about to die. Well, he was going to die, but he decides to live a life as a house cat. So Puss in Boots retires to a crazy cat lady's house, where he grows old and kind of decrepit, as this old lady feeds all these cats, and he's forced to live like a cat, without his boots, and being forced to be called Pickles. And this is the end of the movie. Just kidding. Any other bad movie would have this part of the movie go on for like half the movie, but this only lasts like for 10 to 5 minutes of the movie. It lasts the exact amount of time it needs to showcase that he's hit rock bottom, and then it flows on to the next part of the movie. It's great. Love it. So it turns out there's other characters that are looking for Puss in Boots, that being Goldilocks and the Three Bears crime family. Now, I bet you're wondering, if you know anything about Shrek, is that weren't there the three bears in Shrek already, and didn't, like, the mom bear die? Well, these are just three different bears. I'll just say that. Only someone like me would notice that. And these characters are pretty funny. For right now, they're just one character that talks, and the other ones don't. Who knows, they'll talk later in the film. Probably, but maybe not. While in the cat sanctuary, Puss meets, well, not a cat, but a dog, who's hiding there because he wants to eat the cat food. And he talks, and he's kind of like Donkey, or he doesn't shut up, and he won't leave Puss in Boots alone, or as he's being called right now, Pickles. So Goldilocks and Three Bears break into this old crazy cat lady's house to see if they can find Puss in Boots, because they want him to do a job for them, to steal something. But they don't think Puss in Boots is here because...
Is that a joke? You think this scruffy geriatric bag of bones looks like a legend? This is definitely not.
But Puss in Boots overhears them and decides to do the job anyway, but not for them, but for himself, because they know where the magical wishing star is that can grant any wish. But it turns out that the location of it is in the hands of the infamous Jack Hoarder, who he's got to break into, his bakery shop. Yes, he has a bakery shop. It once again becomes Puss in Boots, but with a beard and a missing sword.
Normally, I have a sword. It's like a whole thing, you know?
So he's about to do this job alone, but it turns out the dog, who we'll call Perito because he doesn't have a name.
I don't have a name or a home.
Fun fact, every character they introduce has a wanted poster, except for Perito here, who has an unwanted poster. Pretty clever. You're then introduced to Big Jack Hoarder, who, if you don't know anything about this movie, you see this character along with the wolf, because this guy became an instant meme when he was first showed off. Not even the trailer. He's a surprise for anyone watching the film. Like, who's this guy? He's a big, fat jackass, basically. He's based off a really shitty nursery rhyme, and the movie takes full advantage about how terrible the nursery rhyme is and how no one likes it. And so the character's really based on the fact that no one likes his shitty nursery rhyme, so he wants to have a better story, because he has no magic, and he uses his wealth and power to gain magical objects. And his wish is to have all the magic to the world to himself, because he's an asshole. This guy is such a douchebag that he even cuts the horns off of baby unicorns just to collect them. Come on, dude. Is that really necessary? Trophy room setting is pretty great. There's a lot of hidden Easter eggs from other fairy tales in this room, so it's really awesome. I love it. Oh yeah, this is a backstory. He sang his crappy nursery rhyme, but no one liked it because they liked Pinocchio, who was getting sold out by his father, because that makes sense to the Shrek universe, and that makes him really mad. I don't know, I thought this scene really funny. So Puss in Boots is about to steal the map to find the wishing star, but other people are there to steal it as well, including his former Flame Kitty Softpaws from the first Puss in Boots movie, the only character that returns from the first Puss in Boots movie, basically. The Dumpty couldn't return because he's dead. Now we get a giant fight scene in the pie factory as well on the streets between all the characters who have already been established who want this map, which is pretty great. A lot of the stuff in the movie is like this. A lot of great action scenes. One of the characters in this scene is the wolf, who is back to taunt Puss in Boots, saying, "I'm coming after you, bitch." So Puss, Kitty, and Perito have the map, and they're reluctantly working together. Well, not Perito, he likes working with anybody, because he's just a nice little pup. They have to venture into the Dark Forest, which is one of the most creative settings in any movie ever, basically. What is the Dark Forest? Well, it's basically this world that basically exists whoever holds the map to the wishing star. The journey there depends on who's holding the map. So depending on that person's personality and their conflicts in life is what the world will showcase to them. So for Perito, everything's easy, but everything Puss is based on the fact he's about to die, and Kitty's based on how she doesn't trust anybody, and the bears be about their nostalgic home, and stuff like that. It's really creative. I love it. We decided to take Perito's version of the road because it looks a lot easier. I mean, who doesn't want to go to the river of relaxation? We gotta hurry because Goldilocks and 3 bears are coming after them. They want this wishing star for some undisclosed reason, in case you're wondering. They come against dangerous posses of rosies or whatever it is. I'm not a flower expert, but these flowers are dangerous, except all you gotta do is stop and smell the roses, quite literally. I'm not even joking. It's kind of funny, actually.
The smell is bullshit.
But every character does a good job against the pocket full of posies, as Jack Horner is here, of course, and he's got Excalibur. Well, kinda.
Excalibur! Yeah, I couldn't get this rock off of it, but it's still pretty cool, right?
Did I mention that I love this character? Of course, these roses are pretty dangerous. It's like kill a guy by skinning them alive, kill all these other baker people. Of course, Jack Horner doesn't really care about helping them. He just wants to get out of here because he doesn't care about his people. He just cares about making his wish come true. He also finds a cricket who tries to help him become a better person, but it's actually pretty useless. But the cricket character is really funny. He's not Jiminy Cricket, technically speaking, but he's hilarious because he talks like this the whole movie, like Jimmy Stewart. So it's really funny. I love it. Okay, because phoenixes are great at burning through flowers. The characters are now on the river of relaxation. If you're wondering why Perito's path is so easy, it's because he doesn't want the wishing star. Yeah, he's the only character that starts off and never wants to own the wishing star because he believes everything in his life's already great. Because he's got friends now and a great sweater, even though his backstory is that people tried to kill him, but he's so caring about other people and kind of naive that he doesn't even realize that people are trying to drown him in a sock for rock, but he thought they were playing hide and seek with him because he's so naive. But that makes the character so great. He doesn't even care. I love him. He's basically a dog. Also, in the most important scenes of the movie, Puss in Boots gets shaved. Think of it in our action scene because Perito got distracted by a stick and now Jack Horner's threatening to kill him.
You're not gonna shoot a puppy, are you, Jack?
Yeah, in the face. Why?
It's great to have a DreamWorks movie that has a good edge to it, a lot of adult jokes, but in clever ways. It adds to the stakes of movies. They used to make movies that were more aimed towards adults or older kids than young kids like they were doing in recent years. So this movie's a breath of fresh air. I love it so much. Plus we get another great action scene. You can tell because the frame rate's gone down. During the fight, Puss in Boots gets scared. Why? Because of death. At this point it becomes pretty clear that this wolf is deaf based off those visions he's having and getting chased after him. And this leads into one of the most famous scenes in the movie, the panic attack scene. Yeah, it's weird that panic attacks one of the most famous scenes in the movie. That's because it was so expertly done. If you've experienced panic attacks, I know I have. This scene, it definitely hits home, and it's definitely executed in a really great way. It's great that it showcases the characters suffer, but it's very realistically done, and it slows down, and it takes its time to showcase what characters are going through. And I love it. This movie's fucking amazing. During this scene, our trio of main characters, which we'll call Team Friendship, we'll get to that later, who are now getting closer together as they reconcile, because Puss and Kitty have a little backstory between themselves. In between the first and second movie, they were going to get married, then Puss stood her up, and that's why they have so much heated stuff between them. Of course, he ran away because he was scared. And now, he's not anymore. Maybe. We will see. Also, Goldilocks Three Bears now have the map, and they had going through the Nostalgia Pines, which recreates their home. It turns out that it follows the story of the Three Bears pretty well, except there's a twist, is that since Goldilocks was an orphan, they decided to adopt her instead of scaring her out the cabin like they did in the original story, which is actually kind of a sweet version of it, you know? Kind of nice, so they're a family, but Goldilocks doesn't think she has a family because she's technically an orphan, so that's what she wants, the wish for, even though she doesn't let that onto her family until later. By the way, the fact this movie's able to string along this many plot lines and all of them to hit and land is freaking amazing. I keep saying the F word a lot, so I'm going to try to say frickin' instead. But no, this movie is fantastic. There is so much going on, and everything's great. Like, how can you make a movie so great? I don't understand how they were able to do such a thing. It's mind-boggling. I wish every movie could be like this. Why can't they? Let's look to learn Jack Horner's tragic backstory.
We need to dig a little deeper. Tell me about your childhood.
You know, I never had much as a kid. Just loving parents, and stability in a mansion, and a thriving baked goods enterprise for me to inherit. Useless crap like that. Finally have the one thing that will make me happy.
Oh, well, what's that?
All of the magic in the world. For me, and no one else gets any. Is that so much?
Yes! Sweet mother of goose, Jack!
Well, you know what they say. Can't bake a pie without losing a dozen men.
Oh, that was horrible! Your wish is horrible! You're horrible! You're an irredeemable monster!
What took you so long, idiot?
It's easy to see how this became a meme. It's quite literally comedy gold. I remember laughing my ass off when I saw this in the theater. Something who says, "You idiot." So Puss and Katy are able to get the map back, but they unfortunately get separated. Puss in Boots is reunited with all his past lives, and they all mock him for being a wuss. That's what they call him, Wuss in Boots. Reuniting with his past lives, of course, makes him realize that his life wasn't as great as he remembered. It was more lonely because his legend, as he said, was too big for anybody else. So he decides to ditch his past lives. However,
Always live a life of fear.
I bet a bunch of people crap their pants during that scene.
Crush the party with your past lives, or your past deaths, as I like to call them. Frivolous. And Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death, right? You're not laughing now.
This is where it's revealed that his character is Death, if it wasn't already obvious to you already.
You know, I'm not a cat person. I find the very idea of 9 lives absurd. Value any of them. Furry makes it more fun for me.
Did I mention how great this movie is already? Yeah, it's great. And Puss in Boots decides to run for it because he's scared. He decides to make a wish so that he cannot be killed by death, even though it makes himself look kind of bad in front of his new friends. That matters now, as every other character is now in the Witching Star, and they want that map. Literally, everybody's fighting over this map, and they're learning stuff about each other. And, like, the bears are like, we don't want this map anymore because we realized we were a family all along, and stuff like that. And Jack Horner gets sucked back into his bag.
Oh, I shouldn't have telegraphed it.
If you think you need those lives,
Thank you, Burrito.
you know, I've only ever had one life, but sharing it with you and Kitty has made it pretty special.
What is that? The chase, Gato. But I think we've reached the end now, you and I.
The coward's way out? Run away to more lives? Fight!
Lives flashing before your eyes?
No, just one. I'm done running. Fear me if you dare.
As you can see from these amazing clips, is that Puss in Boots decides that he's going to face his fear and fight death head on as he learned to value his last life. Or as he says,
I know I can never defeat you, Lobo, but I will never stop fighting for this life.
Yeah, in case you're wondering, he's actually able to defeat Death here, which is pretty amazing. After having a stare-off, Death decides to let him go because he doesn't change his viewpoint, and now it's not worth taking his life anymore. Though, as he says, he will be back. And that is the end of probably one of the best villains in cinematic history. You think they'll be in the movie, but it turns out Jack Horner isn't done yet.
For a second I would come out naked, but my clothes grew too.
But after fighting Death, Jack Horner, even if he's giant, is not much of a struggle, and the characters rip the map so that he can't get the wish, since they don't need the wish anymore.
I do to deserve this! I mean, what specifically?
So all the characters learned that they don't need the wishing star because they already have what they need. They don't need extra lives. They don't need someone to trust. They don't even need a family because they already had what they needed. The person who didn't have what they wanted was Jack Horner, who deserved death anyway because he's a jackass. Now called Team Friendship, well, not really. Only pre-till likes the name Team Friendship. They decide to sail away at the very end to far, far away. I'm not joking, they sail to far, far away. Look, there it is. I remember that from Shrek 2. I love Far, Far Away. Except for Shrek 3rd. Shrek 3rd sucks. And that was the end of one of the best movies ever made. I decided not to update my Letterboxd review since it's basically the same how I feel then. I saw this movie twice in theaters, and I've seen it like 5 times at home. I own the DVD. Yeah, I own DVDs because I can watch them in my car on a road trip. Something I look down on the TV when I'm driving. It's for passenger driving, alright? It's for listening. This movie is fantastic. If you somehow haven't seen this movie, I don't know what you're doing. This should have won Best Animated Picture, though the Pinocchio movie was good, but this movie should have won. It is amazing. I've loved it every time I've seen it. It gets better and better the more you watch it. I just love this movie. If you've seen any of his clips or any other people's videos on this movie, even though I'm late to the party, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. Please watch this movie. If this video didn't convince you, then I don't know what will. Unsurprisingly, Puss Boots: The Last Wish is an S tier, and yes, it's the second best DreamWorks movie in my opinion. I think it outclassed the original Shrek, and I'm not afraid to say that. A lot of people will say that Shrek's overrated anyway. It's not. It's great. And yeah, Puss Boots 2, I already said how much I love it, so that's why it belongs in the S tier. Now, let's talk about the villains. This villains tier list was waiting for 3 villains to go on it, and it was the villains for Puss Boots: The Last Wish. Yes, there are 3 villains in this movie, and all 3 of the villains I put in the S tier. That is insane. That doesn't happen usually. And not only that, one of the villains is above the previous former champion of my S tier. That being the Fairy Godmother got outclassed by Death, who, despite his limited presence, every scene is amazing with the character. There's quite possibly not a better villain than Death incarnate. I mean, what more could you want from a character? I think I talked about these characters enough. Goldilocks 3 Bears is the great redemptive villain. The Wolf is a great obstacle villain, and Jack Horner is a great diabolically evil villain. All 3 different villain tropes done perfectly. People have talked in depth why every character here works, and they were able to balance 3 of them in one movie. Well, technically, if you don't count Goldilocks as like one character, we got quite a few of them. Actually, we got like 5 or something. I don't even know. It's just amazing. I love this movie so much. Definitely recommend watching it. We are almost at the end of the DreamWorks Marathon. I am so happy because I'm actually really tired of doing this. These last couple of movies are in this movie is kind of been really hard to talk about and watch, to be honest. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that we're getting near the end. Anyway, next movie we're going to be talking about is Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. Don't be surprised if no one sees it because no one saw the movie, so why would people see the review of it? So we'll see you then. We only got 3 movies left. I cannot wait to be done.